This is 3 microphones surrounding one person. I don't know how plural nouns work. It is December the 4th. How are we feeling, gentlemen?
I'm not hungover anymore.
Yeah, neither am I. We're feeling bright-eyed and bushy-haired as
I have never been hungover a second in my life. I am more joyous and more ecstatic even than I was yesterday. I'm so excited for Morbius today.
So, exciting news. After completing 4 viewings of Morbius today, we shall be 2% of the way through our total Morbs.
Ooh.
Which fills me with horrendous dread, but I do know that, it's going to speed up over time, so it will be fine. But if we had to do this another 50 times, I would perish.
Yeah.
The percents will escalate.
It's going faster than I was expecting, to be honest.
Yeah, no. Morbius is, quite a short movie. It's 1 hour 44, which makes it very, very viewable in multiple bouts.
God knows we know.
Oh, no. The individual, observations of Morbius take the exact same amount of time every time. I mean, we're at day 4 already.
Yeah.
That's true. I have a couple of updates.
Yeah, it keeps on happening.
First thing, I told my co-workers last night at work about this, and they were all very upset. They have penciled in a date next week for me to recite to them the entire plot of Morbius.
Yeah.
So that will be fun, because they expect me to be able to. And I don't doubt that I will, because I did just, as a bit, narrate the entire first scene of the movie, including the camera shots and, panning. Yeah.
God, you're really, taking it in, huh?
Yeah.
You don't react to stimulus?
No.
See, you've been on your phone cam, but Jack and I have been, watching intently.
To be fair, this is how I watch anything now.
Yes, it's true.
I've burned out my ability to just observe.
What are we looking forward to this watching?
Ooh, I'd like to continue to, put together my thesis in as cogent a manner as possible before I do go insane.
I'm trying just to maintain a grasp on my sanity as long as possible, and for that reason, what happens, happens.
Yeah, today is 4x4? No, it's December the 4th, and today we will be experimenting with the classic 2x2 gambit, where I'm interested in comparing the left and right Morbius versus the up and down Morbius. And one day I assume I will also find the charm and strange Morbii.
Perhaps some sort of mirrored Morbius at some point would be interesting, if we can flip Morbius on one of its axes.
Oh,
That's, I think, a bit more of an advanced technique for a future viewing.
yes.
Yeah,
So
let's
that's something I'd like to think about.
Because what you can do with VLC Media Player is mirror Morbius halfway down the screen, which
Just
doesn't.
like Saul Goodman.
Yeah, it doesn't work well for the beginning of Finding Nemo, which I used to experiment with the settings, but maybe it'll be good for Morbius.
It'll take all those red and blue imagery and make it red and red imagery.
Matt Smith will just be mean to himself for 45 minutes.
Oh, I'd love to see him have sex dance twice, though. Second thing, though, I had 2 points. Second thing, I wasn't in the recording for yesterday's viewings, but I was there to, record and watch the Morbs. And we did have, during the viewing, our first instance of a Morbius-related cognito hazard. In the form of Merlin accidentally typing Morbius in when it was trying to unlock its computer.
Yeah, well, because my computer password contains, capital M as the beginning of a word, so by pure instinct, I began to type in Morbius.
Yeah, so it has begun, only 3 days in. It's a minor instance this time, but it shows that the seed of darkness is growing within us all.
And we are less than 2% of the way through.
Less than 2%.
We will be a perfect 2% by the end of this. It will be fine.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm concerned.
Wow, perfect. I think each watching of Morbius should contain, those kind of rhythm game congratulations. Good. Wow. Outstanding.
Terrible.
Bad. I'm not very good at rhythm games, lads. Play something else.
Subscribe for our Morbius mod of Friday Night Funkin'.
Oh my god. Oh, can we get a Dance Dance Revolution cabinet and put
Have
the
sex.
Have Sex
Have
song
sex.
on?
We'll need a very, very long...
We did listen to that full song yesterday, and boy, it's just like that, huh?
Yeah, it just goes.
Oh, he's
It's
here.
such a jam. Hi, Bo. What do you
Bo has
think?
a guest on the podcast today. He's not
Sometimes
saying
I'm
anything.
glad that our pets don't have the full cognizance to know how stupid we are. I'd like to think he gives us a little bit of credit for being like the god beings that give him food.
We
Yeah.
can open any door. We
It's
just
true.
choose not to.
Sometimes I leave this reality and come back.
It's true. The garage is a liminal space where
He's been in
owners
there.
go to disappear.
Yeah, Bo's currently still a little bit shell-shocked because we had more people here than he's ever seen before.
I don't think he knew that many humans existed.
No.
But yeah,
there he is.
luckily our cat
No.
Bo's name is short
No,
for
don't step on the
Morbius.
laptop.
He is stepping on the recording equipment.
No.
You heard it here first. Everything appears to be in order. He hasn't
He is
hijacked
contributing.
the airwaves.
All right.
Stay tuned for Bo's pirate radio station. But in the meantime, you will have to put up with Morbius, unfortunately.
Oh, final
Morbius.
point.
Yep.
Final point. There's no unironic Morbius merch.
Yeah.
There's so much ironic Morbius merch.
Need it. I need it. Please. I need unironic Morbius merch. All right.
Little man,
Nice
little man, little
recording.
man, little man, little man.
Hey, little boy.
You see what happens in the movie and you start rooting for it and you go, we need Morbius
Yeah, we do.
to stop the evil.
We need Morbius to stop the evil, that's for sure.
I wish that Cameron Locke was dead.
All right, so we're
Sorry.
back. We're back. We just watched Morbius 4 times, bringing our total morbs up to a solid round 10. We're in the double digits.
Solid
Yeah.
Morbius.
Yeah, and we watched it a little bit interestingly. We decided after all that flipping one on one axis would be exciting.
We watched them mirrored so
So-
that they looked at each other.
We first watched Morbius in 2 instances, one above the other.
Yeah.
And then we watched Morbius side by side with one mirrored, so it sort of all played around the center of the screen.
Yeah, like a book.
Yeah, what do you think of
You know
of
how
this
books have
experiment?
identical words on both pages.
Yeah, but the
but
words on the right
backwards.
page are backwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like books.
Just like books.
Just like bats, just like books.
Deadly to books, fatal to humans.
Deadly to books, deadly to bats, fatal
Fatal to the
humans,
audience.
fatal to the metrics and the core demographic.
So, yeah. How are we feeling?
I want to talk about the noise bias in this Morbius.
What is the noise bias, Merlin? For those of us who... There's so many things that you could
You
describe
know what
as
it
that.
is, bitch.
Is it just the general sounds?
I
or
think
the
I may-
specific noise that he sometimes makes where it sounds like it looks like it's coming from his mouth, but it's actually just background noise?
I think I may be taking some psychic damage. Don't know where from, because I was fine 10 seconds ago. I watched a video about sea slugs, and I think they have poisoned me from afar.
Perfect to now broadcast your mental state into the world.
You're on a
Yeah.
sea
Wild.
slugs diet.
Sea slugs and get poisoned by them.
Okay, but what did you think of Morbius, though?
Okay, so the dialogue in this movie is very strange. One, they speak very slowly with just enough room in the middle of sentences to have the first part of the sentence repeated in the silence.
Which, honestly, I will say, works pretty well. I didn't have much trouble hearing what the fuck people were saying in this movie, and that's impressive lately.
As we push upwards of 10 Morbiuses at a time, this will become less true.
Yeah,
but
when we-
two Morbiuses side by side, absolutely manageable. I agree.
I would say that it even helps the experience. Morbius is best watched with like a left and a right Morbius.
I don't know if I've mentioned yet, but when we did our Finding Nemo 8 times test, the word I used was gibbering. We have not hit that yet.
Yeah.
What it does really emphasize, though, is that this movie has a lot of repeated dialogue. They say things twice a lot of times, which is normally something that you don't really notice. But when it's up to 4 times, because you're hearing it twice, why do they do that so much?
Please, can I have my letter back? Please, can I have my letter back?
Please, can I have my
My
letter back?
Please, can I have my letter back? So, yeah, the fact that they repeat so much dialogue in the script is very obvious. Because sometimes, like, every line when you are watching 2 Morbiuses at once is repeated, but when it gets to 4 of the same line at a time, you really notice it. And I would say that a solid 10% of the dialogue in this movie is...
Repeated for emphasis.
Yeah, repeated for emphasis. They decided they only had 90% of a script, so they just, like, copy and pasted select sections directly after the originals.
I see they're copying my editing style. I will say the vertical Morbius was pretty funny because it made anything stretching from like the top to the bottom of the frame twice as tall. So the big vat full of bats,
The bat vat.
the bat vat, was
Long.
like now 6 stories tall, and that's
Yeah.
really
Crammed full
funny.
of bats.
Whereas the horizontal mirrored Morb just had a few nice moments where like Morbius would like
touch.
look wistfully off at to himself, and they would like look into each other's eyes and be sad.
You know what I really appreciated about Top Down Morbius is that Jared Harris drops his bread onto the second Jared Harris, and they both drop their breads together onto the bottom ground.
We've really resonated with the Jared Harris bread drop.
Yeah, Jared Harris is carrying bread and then gets something occurs and he drops his bread on the fucking floor on the road.
And Jack and I just scream and yell about it for 10 seconds.
I do have one piece of actual
Like the anime?
No, sadly not. I will never obtain the One Piece, but I do have one piece of interesting actual information and like actually
Get that shit out of here.
surprisingly impressive symbolism and like foreshadowing in the film, which I noticed, which was the fact that at the very start of the film, we go back in the time skip back to Greece when they're kids in the sad blood orphanage, and Morbius is introduced as a kid playing chess against himself, and he is position playing the black pieces and he's playing against white, but he's controlling the whole board.
Yes.
And at the same scene where we first meet Matt Smith's character for the first time, Morbius checkmates the White King and knocks it over. And then at the last scene of the film, Morbius is wearing a black suit and Matt Smith's character, now the villain, is wearing white. And they have a big vampire fight, and Morbius beats him. And I think that's kind of actually interesting, like, foreshadowing that
that's
Morbius
really
is
good.
checkmating the White King.
Can I propose a dumber theory?
Yes.
Morbius is wearing black because he is the husband, and Matt Smith is wearing the white because he is the gay boy bride.
I will speak to that in a second. I
Ooh.
do have one
Well,
more
I've
thing.
been saying for a while, I do think in an earlier draft, Matt Smith's character was just explicitly gay.
Oh, I think I've cracked it this time.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, no, for sure.
But yeah, no, this is going to... The chess thing, though, is going to tie into my thesis, which I've mentioned a few times on the podcast, but I would like to specifically, elaborate that I think that Michael Morbius is some sort of secret villain who is, master of puppets pulling the strings.
Master of chess pulling the pieces.
Perhaps, he's playing both sides, so he'll always come
out on top.
Much like Mac Always Sunny would say. I am going to be putting this together over the course of many morbs, and hopefully I'll have some sort of cogent idea at the end of it. But look, who's to say that Morbius did not sabotage Lucien's blood machine, his dialysis machine?
Yeah.
Just setting the whole events of the film in motion.
Well,
I think-
he picked up the pen to fix it before he knew what was wrong with the dialysis machine. It's all coming together, guys.
Oh, it was a false flag.
Everything, look, both sides of the chessboard are being played by Morbius the whole time. And
Alright.
it ends in the death of the White King. I'm just saying.
I want to start a dumber theory, which is I want to get into the bats now.
Okay.
I want to get into the bats. So this is a guy here, he gets bat DNA in him, and in theory he gets the exact same procedure done as Matt Smith. We don't see Matt Smith do it, and it's implied he sort of just does that.
I'm sure he can afford someone to inject a thing into him one time.
But nobody knows that he's done it, right? Who would he have gotten to do that? But anyway,
Just
I
a
wanna
goon.
But so he's so anyway. Morbius, John Morbius, that's his name to
Morbius.
me. I know his name is Michael, but he will always be John Morbius to me. He can change someone's name without asking, so can I. So John Morbius, he notices that he can go in the bat tube now, and the bats don't bother him. Now, in the first scene, when he cuts his hand open, the bats are attracted to his blood, so we know that the bats do give a shit about his blood normally when he has the disease, right?
They don't attack him.
They don't attack him. They sort of go past him, and it's not a big deal, and they don't go for the blood. It doesn't really make any sense. But anyway, the bats now ignore him. They think he's their buddy. And Matt Smith, in theory, is also a bat buddy. But at the end of the movie, fucking Morbius summons the bat swarm, and he fires a beam of bats at Matt Smith, and it knocks him the fuck down so he can get the kill shot in. It's very stupid. But I think that he wasn't using bat DNA at all. I think it was bat DNI. Bats do not interact, and they don't. They just don't. They ignore him. Yeah, this was much more funny like when it happened in the movie, and I said it like snappily, and setting it up like this is not as good. But you know what? Fuck you. A little acapella rim shot for you there in the audience.
All right.
Speaking of rim shot, no,
Okay, no.
no, I do. Okay, I mentioned it earlier. I do want to get into
Rims.
Matt Smith's sexy accent, but not in like a Tumblr 2013 kind of way.
Yeah.
Specifically, Matt Smith's English accent changes a couple of times over the course of the film.
Which is strange, right? Because it's his native accent.
Yes, why doesn't he just use his normal voice? Until we realized this watch, or watch number 9 and 10, that Matt Smith's voice is sort of a normal, sort of like slightly posh affect English accent for most of the film.
I'm Milo,
except-
I'm a poor little orphan boy.
Yeah, it's a very pathetic accent for what is effectively a sad, sick little man.
Except for two scenes. And these two scenes, he puts on much more of a lower class, like London, almost sort of Cockney accent.
How'd you like to suck my knob, governor?
Now, the two scenes are...
Well, the two scenes
I already
are...
started with the second one.
Well, yeah, the second scene in which he does this, and this is why I put this together, is when he is trying to pick up a woman at a bar. He is actively flirting with her. He's telling her that she's pretty, and he does it in this sort of a bit more sort of ladsy kind of accent.
Would you say that he is trying to have sex? Have sex?
This does occur right after the have sex scene. Yeah.
yes.
In which Matt Smith dances to the song Have Sex, Have
And he
Sex.
sneaks.
That's not what the song is called, but that's what the song is.
Yeah. But the other scene in which he has this accent is when he is reuniting with Dr. Michael Morbius, and they are sitting discussing their friendship and their bond at a park bench.
And Michael's saying that he's close.
But yes,
I can feel it.
the two scenes in which he adopts his accent, one is when he is trying to actively seduce a person, and the other one is when he is with Michael Morbius.
No, but can I talk about that park bench one more time? Because I've made this point every
It's
watch
true,
through.
it has said this every time.
But they are mirroring the postures of a married couple like 2 meters behind them, and it's really obvious and evident, and I think it lends more credence to the fact that Matt Smith has secretly been in love with Jared Leto this entire time.
Yeah, and now we know he is using his sexy, like, this is the voice that I speak to people I'm attracted to with.
Yes.
It's
And I'm
me
just
hitting
putting all
on you.
together. Love just isn't in the cards for us, Michael.
Yeah,
It's-
he's like, hey, Michael, don't you dare fall in love with your sexy doctor friend. That wouldn't be good. You couldn't fix that. And there's
No
a
reason, though.
desperation to it.
It's true.
there.
There's no cure for love, Michael.
If you
It's
fall
Believe
in love,
me,
it's over
I know.
for us. Yeah, that's true. And then Michael's like, what? How would you fucking know? And he's like, I read books.
But yeah, no, there is some sort of deep unrequited love angle here that I think is either is or should be as important to his character as the fact that he had his name stolen. These are all like incredible building blocks to a sympathetic villain
That they
Right.
just threw in the
they
bin.
just don't use.
He's like, oh, I've become a vampire and I'm immediately going to do murders about it, even though it's clear you don't have to.
But for the purposes of people watching this film 500 times and desperately looking for additional new
Oh, we're gonna make
crumbs of
A
information.
John Locke conspiracy tier, like...
This isn't even a conspiracy. This is so readable and
oh,
cogent.
honey, that's how it always is.
Shut up. Okay, I know we've been going for a while, but I do want to talk about our scene of the podcast. So, they're on the boat.
Yes,
Ah,
the
zip
boat
boat.
scene.
Yes, the boat scene where we finally begin to morb, as the kids say. First things first, international waters does have laws, as I learned from Stuart, friend of the podcast yesterday, and they follow the laws of the port that you last docked in, which is implied to be Long Island. So murder is definitely still illegal
Hold
on
on.
Morbius's boat.
I have an idea. I think that it was actually that we've been mishearing it this whole time. They needed to move... we need to do this we gotta move into national waters.
Where murder is legal?
Yeah, no, it's just you have to do it on the ocean. It's about the vibe.
What are you fucking
If
talking
you were to
about?
do the experiment on land, no, it's not about like the law. If you do the experiment on a boat, it works. If you do it on land, it doesn't works.
So did Matt Smith go out to the ocean to inject himself?
Yes.
I think that bats are weaker on the ocean because vampires can't cross flowing water, and so they were hoping to contain him.
Maybe
on
that's
the
why
boat.
Morbius can control it.
What, cause he swim?
No, because he like the vampire couldn't get all the way into him because of the flowing water.
I'm deeply distressed that we put together some real sweet readings of the film, and now we're padding it with the Morbius boat theories.
I like boat theory.
Shut up. No, okay.
How are you on boats?
How am I on
That's
boats?
a funny Morbius quote. Sorry.
Yes.
How are you on boats, audience? Let me know.
I'm so good at
Why
boats.
is there a panic room in the boat lab? Because they weren't expecting him to morb out. We've only ever seen a rat die and be
Okay.
resurrected completely normally.
Okay, no, for real though, my theory on this, the characters involved are all arguably they're intended to be scientists. They're meant to be seen as scientists. At no point do they go, "Wow, all of this weird shit happening doesn't make any sense." They were ready for every stage of this. They have panic rooms. Nobody questions it. It's like, yeah, I can do echolocation now. My eyes change. Nobody flinches at any of that. No one's like, this is a little strange, man. This is just how it is for them. They were ready with the panic room. The guys on the boat were ready to kill him about it because they were ready for him to morb, because that's just what science is there.
Yeah, well, like, wasn't the Venom stuff national news?
Yeah.
Like, weren't the aliens everywhere in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, there you go. Science includes goop.
Science does include goop. They were like, this could be a goop situation.
End of podcast.
No, don't end it there.
Alright,
This podcast
so
is a bit of a goop situation, let's be real.
the ship's really interesting to me. Those 8 mercenaries are the first people that Morbius, like, kills and consumes for their blood. And, like, they say, oh, killing 8 mercenaries is bad, but the film also takes great care to show us that these mercenaries are, like, bad guys. Like, the head mercenary is a huge misogynist to Dr. Bancroft, and
And the FBI explicitly states we don't give a shit that you killed those 8 guys. They don't matter. They were all clearly evil.
yeah, no, they were criminals, and we don't care about, like, the deaths of criminals.
Which is also fucked up, but
Yeah,
you know.
fucked up.
Yeah, Morbius, again, can never do anything wrong, so his first deaths, which were in self-defense, and while he was out of control, they were bad guys anyway. Don't worry about it.
So Cam, I believe, made the point last podcast that they have attempted to frame Morbius's character arc as that of an anti-hero. But the thing is that the scenes that they shot and delivered to us are explicitly heroic in basically every way imaginable. And there is a special feature on the DVD that I am aware of called The Making of an Anti-Hero that I am now, like, frothing.
So I was confirmed right then. They think he's an anti-hero.
Yeah, frothing with excitement over the fact that, like, Daniel Espinosa is going to look me in the face and tell me that Morbius is an anti-hero for sure, for definitely. I meant to make this movie.
Like, he's straight up, I would say, exactly the same level of heroic in this movie as fucking Spider-Man. Spider-Man kills a guy, and then he feels bad about it forever. Morbius kills 8 guys and then goes, yeah, that was definitely bad. I don't want to, like, he's done exactly as much wrong as Spider-Man.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna stop drinking the blood that I already have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
Morbius,
I feel bad.
Yeah, Morbius kills 8 guys, and he's like, human blood drives me to violence unimaginable. I can never have it ever again. I must subsist on artificial blood. Like, he is almost flagellating in his repentance for 8 mercenary deaths. Whereas Matt Smith, the 11th Doctor, he does a funny little dance.
Yeah, he does his little sexy London
He's just
voice.
immediately like, oh, I guess I'm a murderer now and I'm allowed to do kills. And it's like, wow, he just he didn't have like we didn't get to see it even happen.
Wee yahoo!
He's
I eat a
just
newsman.
evil all of a sudden.
I think we've got a lot of, like, this one really unpacked
Yeah.
a lot of things that I'm excited to revisit in later Morbiuses, which is good, because it means that I'm not going into this completely despairing.
Okay, so I have one last noise to make. And that's that normally with shows and movies and stuff, they can't record any sort of, like, diegetic noise there, like, in the shot, especially if it's something small like paper riffling or, like, something quiet being dropped onto a desk, because the sound doesn't pick it up very well. But Morbius seems to have taken care to, like, really emphasize a lot of, like, sound in the movie, as distinct from the noise, but a lot of the sound, like the scene where Morbius is mulling over his powers and throwing a ball around his lab.
Oh, it's a squash court in there.
Yeah, absolutely sounds like a squash court and not a medical lab. And, like, a ton of the noises on the boat aren't sort of, like, properly, like, location dampened. I don't know the correct terminology off the top of my head, but they don't sound like they're as far away as they should be. And I think playing with sound like that is really interesting. I don't know that I have any concrete analysis on it yet, but that's just something I want to footnote for
Have
later.
we mentioned that we found out that the smoke is diegetic as well?
Oh yeah, the smoke is real.
We thought that the smoke was just like the echolocation vision, right? But you do get to see Matt Smith kill some folks on a camera, and it shows up on the video camera that the police are watching. So, bat DNA makes you covered in smoke or whatever.
Yeah, just like bats.
Just like bats.
Just like bats.
I do want to say, that was your thought. I've always believed in smoke.
Smoke's not real, guys. It's just fake. Smoke was invented to trick you into thinking that fog was hazardous.
Okay, now I just want to repeat. What the fuck are you talking about?
I'll see everyone tomorrow. Good night and good luck.